March 2026. Time now is 4:36 p.m. This is basically NSIGII protocol, N for November, F for Sierra, I for Indigo, G for Gold, F for India. I'm still getting this protocol. This is finally complicated. This is the last part of it because it can't really give you the goals to have you get food, water, and shelter any place in Namdi. And the food, water, and shelter is enough if you go any place you go, you get that water. But the implementation is not really there yet. So, you're trying to work on it. Honestly, let me get my paper. So here you have every part. There's three parts in life. There's front, left, and front, left, and right. Front, left. If you're facing something, if you're polarized or something, if you're facing an object, I have my side, my left side, my right side, and my front side. But I can walk in a straight path. So I can walk always in a straight path, basically, doesn't matter. This is four concepts: yes, no, and maybe. Maybe I go forward, maybe I go right, and maybe go left. But it's literally the goals to have the NSIGII protocol and code this system. Breathing is not optional. Living is not optional, and only work is optional. Breathing without living is suffering. Suffering, so I'm suffering without knowing it. Because there's so much of it. To live never means you're alive. When system fails, build your own. When system fails, build your own. Which I'm doing, and I did just that. By OB Nexus, now the Nakabala. This is basically the NSIGII protocol firmware informal specification version 1. So if you can create something, you can destroy it. Basically the enzyme model. So if you can create a process, you can destroy the process. If you can build something, you can break it. If you can reuse it, you can repair it. And everything is three-way, which is the path. So the code bind is binding. For example, you create something, and then you create a process, build something, break something, build something, break something. So if you create a process, you can build and break the process. But if it keeps breaking, the system will decohere naturally because it's being reused the process of creating. The NSIGII model is a very important model based on molecular structures. Basically, the NSIGII model is a model of enzymes, enzyme proteins. They're just proteins, enzymes just proteins, trying to build and break stuff. They really like to bring and break stuff. But the other things that create, such as the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria can create and destroy cell activity. You have to sleep a lot. Renew, repair. And DNA can repair itself and renew itself. Literally, this is called a perfect repair. Yeah. So the goal is to have the enzyme model do this, model perfectly a system. So the 10%, so basically you get the enzyme model, which is a trinary DAG. Trinary DAG. So you get a create, destroy, build and break, and repair and renew. So if you prioritize one state of equations, so if I just only want to something that can create, and if I want no destruction, I cross off destroy, that means the system has to heighten. If I cross off destroy, the system has to repair something. No more destroy means create something else must happen, and that must recreate. Because we create, in this case, a bipartite point. It's a bipartite system based on the firmware model. Basically, NSIGII firmware, F for France, I for Indigo, R for Romeo, F for Mike, W for West, A for Alpha, R for Romeo, E for Echo, is a human rights firmware, which is a unilateral system. For example, look at me right now. guys, and face my character. This face I hold is I don't do anything, but I'm on the computer. This one is computer on the side, and I'm just going to the computer. This is your natural system. Because you don't see me interrupting anything, but I'm just pressing buttons. I'm doing my computer work, and this is why I do my mind physically, because I hold this space and I'm there. Where am I? I'm using my computer. But this computer, I'm standing up and I have all my hands extended. I'm free to move. I'm not sitting down and using the computer. I'm on a holographic interface called NSIGII. Now, the NSIGII firmware had those errors suffering. So if this is an error pops together, pop in my face. NSIGII firmware, like no food, eat food, no water, get water, drink water. No sleep, Nandi. Go to bed. But it's not going to shut the computer. It's part of the nuclear boot sequence. So the 10% factor is very important to start because it wasn't the coherent process of a human being. Basically, it starts to assist you. Basically, gonna have to work with you in sleep farmers. The sleep farmers, this was suffering. So basically, on the 31st of December, I was detained by the police on the Mental Health Act of 1963, which I'm still in this fucking ward unit, but my rights are being violated, and I've been told a lot of things. Well, I'm not here yet. I look like a crazy person, which I don't like to look like. But the goal is to have me out of here to of problem. So I asked the house, this is why the NSIGII firmware matters. NSIGII firmware solution. I'm going to do this is a firmware interface. So the firmware is the thing that connects you from the hardware to the software to the hardware. So it's a bridge. It's NSIGII bridge. It allows you to bind stuff. So NSIGII firmware is a binding between the creation, recreation, and no destruction. No destruction. The beauty of it is you get build, bind, break. Repair, NSIGII bind, renew. It's set between the middle layer of you, the control lock. The controllee, the thing being controlled, the computer being controlled. And basically, you get the controller, the controllee being controlled, the controllee thing being controlled, and the controller, the thing you hold to control the space. So for me, if I do this, my hands are by my side and I can push against walls. I have nothing I'm controlling. But that means there's something the computer is holding that space for me, so I can type. This space belongs to me and my computer system, but it just belongs to me basically. It's very possible you guys with the process bill. But that's what I'm saying. The goal is to have the system be consensual for you and your space, So me holding this space like this, I'm not talking, I'm just waiting. If I want to answer a call, this is like a symbol I hold, I'm holding space, and this space is literally ready to go. If I'm ready to start acting on it, so write an email here with one hand, answer a call on because the computer, but it's a United system. There's no wires involved in this kind of system. It's just a theoretical aspect of the mind, because I'm miming a reality of me using the computer, of me breathing my computer, you doing some kind of work, living on a computer and working. It's called cybernetics interface. So NSIGII, in one word, is a cybernetic interface. It's a cybernetic, again, that's very important, it's a cybernetic interface. This is very beautiful to understand that it's meant to preserve your human rights, your dignity, your system. So, as you can basically, the point detained and robbing, they're assaulting me. I mean, 20 police officers were there in that care home, 15 inch away. I couldn't find a lawsuit from here in this court because, I'm not in the community, it's hard to file it. 20 police officers was fighting, was assaulting me, grabbing me, trust me, I said, I'll go. Yes, I said, I'll go. Why are you grabbing me? No point. I just said, let me pack my stuff up. You don't want to help, you don't have to help. Let me pack my computer and I'll go, and they're grabbing me, trying to say I should buy them. I was trying to buy someone's things so I can get on, but they had to assault me, they had to touch me and pull me. Then I pulled them back, and then they're pulling me back, push me back. And I said, I'll use the force, and you pull them back. And that was what happened. And that's how it goes. They said, no, I know physics too. I know physics. Not the jiggle figures, I know a lot of physics. But literally, the goal is to have the single protocol segmented interface. For example, if you have a component that's broken, you press it and you have two protocols to do it. So you can have the firmware pop up instantaneously on the screen, like this is wrong way. Like imagine you're going the path, this is the wrong way before you're going the wrong way. Imagine your video game like Battlefield, you're going the wrong way. End the map, I can't hear the UI. And so end of that, and the post from to turn you around, to take you and will turn you around, will turn you around, or so you don't have to go on the end of the map to get them up. But that's one example. So I'm running the end of the map, running on the map, but this is no go zone, because it's a no go zone on the end of the map, I'm running, and then it's up to you. If you're not alerted by the game sound, you're alerted by the single protocol. It will turn you around from the game map and move into the so that's a no go zone. Because it's not that they make you cheat, because that no go is very defined in the game asset. So it's going to prevent from falling off the map in kind of Ghost 2 Ghost. So people don't have to fall in the lap, So that's what Sigi Pro is doing. So basically, if this was with food or water, the Sigi Pro is like an interface. It's a cybernetics interface. Basically, it's a program, definition, cybernetics, a program that's loaded on the BIOS, that's in the BIOS, firmware that's loaded, that's loaded, and that's executed at runtime, at Muko OS runtime, very positive. Muko OS, Muko operating runtime that determines whether you have food, water, or shelter. You can dismiss the protocol, because if you're suffering, you can lose a hand. And no one will care. But if the protocol detects that you're suffering ahead of time because it's a heartfelt system, it's a heart system, it knows you're gonna be suffering. It will give you food or shelter before you start suffering. That's the goal. To stop the fragmentation of your mind before your mind starts getting fragmented and decoherent in real time. You know what I'm saying? The system has to preserve the kind of isomorphism between human and human. It's not a heartful system. It's not correct. It's heartfelt. It feels for you, and because it encodes suffering, giving its publication, it very precisely encodes whatever. For example, food stores and certain. So when the mucose pops up, it's a UI program, it's a UI interface. It's a user interface. Doesn't matter what it is. Basically the chip, the muco, the NSIGII firmware, the actual chip encodes, but it does. It works with NSIGII is built into the Muco UX. So basically, I'm going to show you the Muco boot sequence. I'm going to show you how it works. But I want you guys to get engaged in this system. So it's basically biological computational systems that work based on the human rights framework of cybernetics, cyber interaction with networks, cyber interaction with cyber network, cybernetics. And kinematics, which means your ability to move, or inverse ability, your ability not to move. You get inverse kinematics, you get dimension of inverse cybernetics. So it's an inverse cybernetics principle. Inverse cybernetics principle that respects your food, water, shelter, and breathing rights, your living right, and your sovereignty before you can actually do a protest. You guys can turn it off. But I don't want to give you to get option to turn it on, because if you have this firmware, it's enforced by default policy. It's enforced. The BIOS, the firmware itself is a physical hardware, but it's a software emulation. It's a software itself and a hardware. So it comes to two parts, software and hardware. But the software, which I'm going to show you how to run the build software, it's a firmware. But listen, the goal is how do you do telemetry? It tracks the telemetry of the system. So for every pathway, for every stage you take, but it's a trident telemetry system that works on trinary logic. Trinary, yes, no, maybe, and the space we all share, the space you share and I hold, the space you hold and I share, the space you hold and I share. Basically, it's like me, imagine a UI interface. No, I don't imagine it. It's already there, but it's gonna project when you need it. It's gonna project when you need it. That's it. It's gonna project you through. They say, do you have those something to do? Because the human rights firmware, and it's a symbol. It's a firmware that controls what you don't need to control no more. Suffering. What you have no control is what you don't have to control. What you don't want to control, you're suffering. And that's the story of being a software. So it's a little CMOS, what is CMOS battery? And you have on the chip, the two chips, you have two NSIGII chips, basically, that are a separate part of the keyboard so it doesn't break for anyone. It's not even me. Yeah. So the change percent factor is the stability of 10%. So if a sequence is if a new code boots means I can build, this Africa and break this Africa and this Africa breaks and I'll rebuild it, and it gets the success. They can build, and if it passes, and then I try to build something else and then it breaks. And I try to then the system that depends on then the other one breaks. I have two broken. This system will really fail the security protocol. It will really fail. So that means the security has a problem with this because if it builds and I go to something I'm trying to build another artifact and it builds and it breaks, that feature depends on the first one. That means the system already failed you, But the inside model is basically why the protocol matters, because you don't have to roll it back. You keep dumping, you can keep evolving the system interdependently based on no version. You don't need to version anything. So in SIGII, that has been very possible. No versioning, roll back. So you have the inside model. So the inside model was used to because it works on biological, like hemoglobin. What is the blood hemoglobin? So you get heteroglobin, homogeneous globin. Globin is for blood something. Blood cells, hemoglobin, which are blood cells, red blood cells, basically, called hemoglobin. And you got also, so you get biological entities that work on the formula because you get attractors of blood cells. You get white blood cells, you get heteroglobin. I think they're called heteroglobin. I don't know scientifically, but they have but they are attractors and repellers of blood cells, but they work like magnetism. But they go to work like biological sustainable system of constitutional infrastructure, so you can have the system with things from respect the body. So I'm building an exoskeleton, based on blood, sweat, and tears. That's what you call. But the exoskeleton will be the physical surface, so the body of the system. So the blood is what the NSIGII has, and the encoding of the blood, the sweat of your labor, preserving your money, and your tears, you're crying, you're suffering. Blood, sweat, and bleeding, sweat. That's the same. But if people can preserve all of that, because you can stop from bleeding, you can stop from sweating, you can work, but you don't have to work. You don't need to work. You need to work on your personal stuff, your projects, your own things, that matter to you for your lifetime. And that's what I said. The SIGII firmware is a little chip that knows what it's doing. So you can preserve, because it wants observer and consumer. Inverse and versa. It's observing you, and you're observing it. But it's observing your action via how you talk with the computer, via observer to consumer ratio. Relay observer, no consumer inversion model. One device can replay the state of your actions while using the computer. Hey! I've started recording. So I was trying to record this, and I wasn't recording, so I have to do this properly. Yeah. So it was a time. Okay. So yeah, so my screen was not recording all this time, and I'm not happy with it. But if you can see, hear this audio and look at this video here. This is what I'm talking about. So it's still recording my audio, but the video is not up. So this video, so basically, you get the create, destroy pattern, you get renew, repair, you get build and break, and you get 10%, and you get all of that. Oh, here I'm saying build, break, bind, 10%. You're gonna have create, rebuild, build, rebuild. But these are two different things. So build B. But if B depends on A, you got a problem, and that obviously gives you a non-consistent path. So you have to rebuild everything again. So that's the problem. That's 10%. 10% equals 100, and that's what that matters. So you're gonna have a system of a path. If you create something, you're gonna start building, and that's the thing. You're gonna have three parts. Yes. Rebuild, yes, build, yes, or rebuild or repair, yes, break or bind, or yes, build, bind, or rebind. Bind or rebind. So bind or rebind, based on system of state. So that's the every pathway shape or form you're gonna walk. But system has isotropic, so it's not just system, it's isomorphic and tropical, tomographic. So that means it's isotrophic. Thank you guys for watching the video. But the system is not there yet. So, second project is going to suffer. So, I'm gonna upload the audio so you can see the video. But take a look at the audio in the next audio I'm gonna upload and see whether you can decipher it based on the video. But this is NSIGII firmware. This is NSIGII firmware. This is like NSIGII firmware that knows what it's doing. Basically, you're going to have the system have an ecosystem based on the system. So the promise system works because the firmware using Hamming code, budgeting photo Hamming code, or priority byte. But the priority byte of the Hamming code is reserved for the process of NSIGII. So, it results in space and this is an enzyme model, hemoglobin. Basically, a probe. This is a probe. So this is ask yourself questions. So this ask yourself questions. Two questions. Like is this working for you? Basically, this thing can probe itself. Probe you. You basically praise you ask yourself. If it doesn't get a response based on the frame of reference, you will so decide. So probe is basically as soon as you ask yourself question. P is a probe, external probe given S, where S is the state. That's given S implies S a state, or let's call it a probe external. The probe external has a state first, then the data, and probe internal. You give the input, the data, and you see some state. You see some state. And that's just to imply what you have done to the system. Thank you for watching the video. But I'll upload or transfer now. Okay, thank